Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight for today's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. And the topic we'll be looking at together is the connected age, the art of relationship building. The connected age, the art of relationship building. And it is adapted from the work of Kate Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. Our facilitator for today is a veteran in the HR industry who has over 30 years experience in the HR space across different sectors, organizations, and professional expertise. Mr. Olusuji Oluwumi is the lead consultant, Solus Professional Services Limited. And this is the second time as a facilitator on this platform. We thank you most sincerely, and I'd like to hand over control to you at this time. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be in our midst again this evening, and it is my hope that it will be a worthwhile session for both of us and all of us listening in. And I hope that relevant questions will also come forth towards the end of it so that we can dive deeper into the aspect of the program. Yes, the connecting age, the act of relationship building. Relationship building is something many of us trivialize. We would rather be networking. But the truth of it is that it is the relationship that matters. You will notice that even when we talked about emotional intelligence, the summation of personal knowledge of yourself, self-control, and the likes, the other two, they all hinged on building relationship because that is what matters. And that's why we are going to look at this today. And my hope is that, yeah, there will be a lot of takeaway from it at the end of the session for the glory of God. So let's go. Now let's look at the features of the connected age. And they are quite clear. We are in it already. The fact is that it's driven by the information technology. It is also defined by internet and interconnectivity. It is ruled by email, cell phones, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and a host of others. And it represents the reality of the global village that we are all in. And whether we like it or not, it is sustained by interdependence, as in the proliferation of associations like the groupings that we are here, even clubs and other groupings that you and I are part of. Those are the typical features of this connected age. And let's consider this. It is something that it is a saying that is attributed to this man called Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is like the king among the Asian countries, actually somewhere along the Himalayas and all of that. And it's a popular figure for those who have taken note of global events. And it says that we human beings are social beings. We come into this world as a result of others' actions, at least our parents. We survive here in dependence on others. Whether we like it or not, there's hardly any moment of our lives when we do not benefit from others or the activities of others. And for that reason, it is hardly surprising that most of our happiness arises in the context of our relationship with others. That is the reality we're in today. We are social beings. There's no doubt in that. We love to be in company of others. Living alone can be agonizing. It may give you some initial comfort, but after a while, it will get at you that you need the people around you, or to call you, to phone you, or to have some discussion with you. That gives relevance. It makes us human. We are not loners. And that is the reality of our time. Personal relationship and networking starts from that. And it comes in different ways. There are the acquaintances of this world, or those who call casual friends. We know them, we interact with them now and again. The interaction is not quite deep, but they exist all the same. I mean, we are known to each other. There are those that are personal, or whom we call bosom friends. We have a deeper relationship with them. We crave their presence, we take notes or appreciate their counsel or advices. And whether you know it or not, relationship grow in the course of time. You start with one person, and before you know it, you have more dealing with others. And that is the beauty of relationship. Now, it doesn't just happen on its own. It takes working at, and you must earn it. You can't force relationship. It must be earned. It must be something that is mutual. And that's the beauty of it. Now, in this age and time, relationship is a necessity. If you want to move forward in the world of today, you need to build relationship. Now, we're still looking at personal relationship, and we need to realize some realities. And that is that success, for instance, is not contingent on technology or your talent. That is what you know. It's not contingent or dependent on venture capital. They are important. You know, you can always get some money out of them to get business going. They join you in doing that business. But it depends on whom you know and how you work with them. And that is the beauty of the HR mentorship group. Because in the course of time, you make friends with people that are met there, and some of them are growing, and it can only grow. And if, as we continue to feed it, it grows better. The truth about life is that who you know determines how effectively you can apply what you know. Now, belonging to the HR mentorship, for instance, created this platform. Give me, for instance, the opportunity to take this session. So, and already I'm getting some link as a result of belonging to that group. And so there is no doubt about it that who you know determines how effectively you can apply what you know. Because I am linked to people one way or the other, they help me to meet some other people, and the relationship keeps growing. It's like a chain, and like a candle, once you put it on, it keeps burning. So it is known by us, and I believe most of us know it, that the solution you and I are looking for is usually 2 or 3 people from us. That is, by the time you ask A and follow up with B, you will find that by the time you get to C, if you don't get it even from B, you will find it from him or her. So we need to reach out and make relationship. Relationship is key. We must build it before we need it. Now, remember this: love, reciprocity, and knowledge, which are key ingredients of relationship, are not like bank accounts that grow smaller as you use them. It is how often you use it that this thing grows. So unlike a bank account that goes down as you use it as often as possible, relationship they get better with time. They are just like the old wine. It gets sweeter with time. And whether we like it or not, creativity begets more creativity. When you interact with somebody that is creative, the little you have keeps growing because you will learn thereof. Money begets more money, knowledge begets more knowledge. More friends begets more friends. Your friends' friends become your friend, for instance. And so your circle of friendship grows, it enlarges. And as we all know, giving begets giving. You remember that popular Bible passage, give, and it shall be given to you, but a lot more. That is what personal relationship is all about. You will always reap what you sow, but in a larger fashion. Now let's look at relationships and networking. Let's just compare and contrast them. Networking sounds cold. It sounds impersonal. It is distant, and admit it or not, it's also selfish. I am interested, so I reach out to this fellow, or we meet somewhere, and because of who he is, he or she, for instance, may have a name that is recognizable. So I want to draw close to him because I have, if you like, ulterior motive, not in the context of harming him or her, but I need something from him. So I am compelled to try and get close so that I can get that stuff from him. So basically, such networking gets abused because it's not mutual. And until it's mutual, relationship can't operate and it can't grow. So connecting has to do with sharing your knowledge, your resources, your time, your energy, your friends, your associates, even empathy and compassion. They are shared. And in such a continual effort that they provide value to others, while coincidentally increasing ours. That is, we also benefit for it. It is what you give that you get. There's no gainsaying about it. So unlike relationship that we say it may not be real, it's like there is an ulterior motive driving it. Relationship is a lot better because then you give something in return, and that is more fulfilling. That is the connection gets stronger that way than otherwise. So the bottom line with relationship is that there is always value to add to others. It's not what you're taking, it is the joy of giving. And giving both sides make it more interesting and fulfilling. How can you and I be a connector? And it is not about just managing transaction. Being a connector is about managing the relationship. In which case, once we get to know, we can nurse that relationship that is formed at that point in time to grow better through exchanges of ideas or opinions and even knowledge and all of that. That relationship becomes, bigger and better. Now, unlike networking, why the real networking in the strict sense of it is about finding ways to make others more successful at what they do. In which case, if I'm involved if I sell a product X, for instance, the idea is if you are my friend or we have a relationship, you are more disposed to buying from me and selling it to others as well. That is passing on the message that, okay, Shiji is selling X or he produces Y, and so others come to get or that service that I render. And that is what networking is all, real networking is all about. Not the type that are there today just to take, how do I call it? To benefit alone, not giving anything in return. And I hope that we can find that soft and effective networking and cultivate it to be in a relationship that we are saying in this program is more relevant. Those you are connected to are there to offer you and I or any other person expertise. Some offers us job, they help, they encourage, they support, even they care and love, because we are now related. We are now related. This woman put it in a very more appropriate way. Margaret Whitley, she said, I don't know if she's still alive, but she used to be a professor. And she said, Relationships are all there is. Everything in the universe only exists because it is in relationship to everything else. Nothing exists in isolation. You and I don't exist in isolation. So by reaching out, being friendly, or extending hands of friendship to others, we build relationship. So those relationships, and I'm sure if you look back, it's not even about the duration of it. It is more like God ordained, and it makes a lot of things happen. You are just fond of X or Y, and you form a relationship from which you grow thereby. So nothing exists in isolation. You and I are not existing and alone. And that's why the topic of the man whose idea we are sharing today, it says never eat alone. When you share what you have, then there is fulfillment. Unlike the way it is now, we remember when we were young in the 70s, they put a plate in the middle of the dining table or on a mat, and everybody's food is in there. If you are going to eat gari, for instance, or eba, as Yoruba we call it, every other thing is in there, and everybody start to take from same plate. You may have two plates, one for the gari and the other one for the stew or soup or whatever you like. And then we start taking it. You wait for others to come and you eat the food together, but it's more fulfilling. You can imagine when your friends are together and you do that. And that is the beauty of our relationship. So you and I need to stop pretending we are individuals that can go at it alone. We cannot. There's a little we can do. When they said 2, 3, 4 S are better than one, it's a loaded message for everyone. What we hear is so often, and we hardly pause to give it some thoughts, act on it. I think the clarion call this evening is for you and I to make the most of that reality, because that's what has always been. 2 heads are better than one, and you can imagine the worth of 3 heads. It brings answers, it brings solutions to every issue or any issue that we may be confronted with. And we need to start leveraging that in every fair we find ourselves in the workplaces, in worship places, in the neighborhood. Let's reach out and make friends. It will be useful when you least expect it. Yeah, I understand that there has been the tendency to operate alone when we're even young. We were conditioned early in life to believe we can make it alone. You know the story of what happens in school. We're all chasing being the first. And so you may know a subject a lot better and you hoard it. You don't want to share it. But whereas, and I'm sure we know better now, that the more you pass on what you know to others, the better you get. In which case, you can't exhaust it. The best way is to share it. And the more you share it, if you share a wisdom nuggets, the beauty is that you impact others and they share theirs, and you have more of those nuggets to share with more people, and life is more fun and more interesting. Even as a grown-up, we are lone rangers, more or less. At work, the same thing. The struggle is there. The politics in the workplace is crazy. Where I am. That is not relationship. That is one of the challenge in life today. Is the challenge even in our beloved country, Nigeria. Instead of seeing something great one state or one individual is doing and try and emulate that. Go to that person, go to that state, go to that city, and copy the good things in there so that you can also prosper and grow thereby. We don't do that. We would like to put others down. That is a dangerous dimension. We are saying this evening that it is key, it is very important for you and I to build relationship. Relationship it is. Once you have relationship, you can walk in anytime, you can knock the door anytime, you can make a call anytime, because you know yourself more. Once you, I mean, we go to workplaces without knowing anybody there. But in a space of 2-3 months, it's a different ballgame. You will have seen 1 or 2 people that you can relate with, that you even got to know their houses, and you have probably visited or you've had an engagement together, and that makes life, beautiful, because then it becomes your buddy and can assist you in whatever your aspirations are. We need to know that and grow up. We need to grow up indeed. Now, at work, most people still romanticize independence, a lone worker who accomplished gigantic feats. That is a pipe dream in the age we're in. There is very little you can do alone. It is no wonder that in the last 5 to 10 years, team working has become the norm. You must form a team, be concerned about each other, and be able to work together as an entity to accomplish far much more. In fact, in a dimension that is unbelievable that team can do. And that brings greater success to organizations where those team working has become the norm. Indeed, some view autonomy as a virtue. That is that I'm alone. It is not a virtue. We are mistaken. It is what we now call the so-called silos mentality that is still operating in some organizations because they are not wiser, not realizing the strength. There's this thing we describe, I'm trying to remember it now, pardon me. The strength in two far equates the strength of one and another. In which case, the strength of 2 people working together or in the same direction is far greater than the individual strength of the 2. What they call, oh goodness, I can't remember the word now. Synergy, yeah, I think that's the word. Synergy effect far outweighs the singular effect of one person or the 2 of them coming together, because it is greater than 2. And we need to operate in that fashion. Now, some people regard interdependence as a variation of dependence, in which case, if they are not in charge, if they are not directing the show, they don't feel that they don't feel fulfilled. I'll put it that way. They see communication, teamwork, and cooperation as a lesser value. And I think it is born more out of ignorance. There is so much in teamwork, so much to gain in it, and it has gained currency now, so much so that departments are now regarded as a team. It's not just having a leader. The leader will take himself as part and parcel of that group, because he will learn from his subordinates and vice versa. It is not just somebody having all the knowledge and the others, maybe they are nincompoops. No, it is different. Everybody has value. Everybody has something to add to the collective, such that the collective can grow and prosper thereby. And if we need to remind ourselves, perhaps this quote by George Adams is really very important. It says that there is no such thing as a self-made man. That is just deception. We are made up of thousands of others. Everyone that has ever done a kind deed for us or spoken one word of encouragement to us has entered into the makeup of our character and of our thoughts, as well as our success. And how true that is today. There is little you can do as a lone ranger. There is little. There is very little you and I can do as a lone ranger. By the time we operate in groups, the group effect, if it becomes the team that it is intended to be, can surmount, call it any challenge that comes up. Because those are 2-3 good heads coming together to do wonders. And I'm sure for those of us that have some biblical knowledge or can remember some of this Babel, this Babel of Tower of, is it Tower of Babel? I hope I'm correct, Tower of Babel. What happened there is unusual. That when 2, 3 or more people are gathered together for one purpose, look, they can accomplish feats that you and I cannot even dream of. Until God checkmates them, they probably could have built that tower to heaven. And that is the beauty of teamwork. When a group of people comes together and the target or the purpose is unity, and then or is the same, then you see them accomplishing unbelievable feats. Now, the reality we have is that the game has changed. So it's not just that great leader turning the whole place around by his efforts alone, by his thoughts alone, by his ideas alone. No. It's now that we live in what we call the interdependent world. So win-win has become a necessary reality. In a networked world, the world is connected. You know, this common saying, global village, it didn't come out of trivial issues. In the course of time, they realized that the whole world is connected. They are dependent. We are all living witnesses of what is happening in Russia and the neighboring country. In terms of the crisis it has caused in that part of the world, that has moved from just the Asian countries and the neighboring countries to even the entire Europe. You know how tough food, petrol, for instance, is since the war started sometimes last year between Russia and what was this country now? Can't remember that. So win-win has become necessary reality in our world today. It's no longer win-lose. You win when I am happy, you become happy as well. So cooperation is fast gaining ground on competition. It's more of cooperation. We leverage our strengths, individual strengths, so that we can both have access to what each other has at a better bargain. Now, it is more of a personal kind of loyalty and generosity given to colleagues, teams, friends, customers that now reigns. There are so much assistance we receive from other people. We probably take some of them for granted, but for some of those assistance, they mean a lot. When it is timely, when it meets the need, we revel in them, and they make our day or days, as the case may be. And that's why today, helping others is tantamount to helping yourself. Helping your team is the same as helping yourself. And that's why you find that in organizations today, the customers are not just called kings. They are allowed to reign. They are allowed to reign. Good leaders, team players of this age think and act interdependently to be successful, either by omission or commission. Being a member of the mentorship group, the HR mentorship group, has been beneficial to all of us. I mean, sometimes for some days, depending on my schedule, I could look at 2 or more slides of other people that I possibly can't find enough time to do if I had to take all the content out and search for them myself. But by hearing it once and again, it enhances my professional growth. My knowledge base is boosted. And that is what being connected, having a relationship brings about. We can interact with ourselves, seek help, assistance, and whatever from being in that platform. That is what relationship is. If, for instance, I have to buy something from one of those in the hustle side, if I go back or introduce that product or service to other people, I bet you he or she won't forget me in a jiffy, because then we will have formed a kind of relationship that hopefully is benefiting both of us. So bottom line to all this saying is that it is time to change our mindset, to start thinking that you are the lone, what do you call it? The lone wolf. You can't do it on your own. And it's not the kind of relationship that you network because you know that that fellow has, or you just got to know that that fellow has some edge in some places or in certain quarters. And so you want to quickly meet him, get his card or a card, and take advantage of that. It is beyond that. It is beyond that. There must be something you give so that both of you can depend or rely on each other going forward. Now, let's look at this other reality as well. It is said that in hard times, your experience, your hard work, or talent will not save you. In hard times, thank God we had in different dimensions some hard work some 2 or so months ago. When you have so much in your account and you can't access it, when your card has money in there and you can't transact business because it's not even going. I mean, one way or the other, you probably find one person that can say, oh, look, I've got some 20,000 naira here. Do you need it? Of course, you can imagine how you will jump because your ATM card has become worthless. People are asking for raw cash, and without it, no transaction. It was that bad. It was an experience I'm sure this generation will not forget in a GV. Now, if you have somebody that receives naira at that point in time and gives you, it's like giving you oxygen. It's like giving you life. And that's what it means when you have relationships with people. It is those relationships that will come in handy during hard times. If you need a job, if you need money, if you need advice, if you need help, if you have or your hope needs to be revived, or your spirit needs to be revived, or a means to make a sale, there is a sure place to find them within your extended circle of friends, associates, and God. Those are your network. Those are relationships you must cultivate, and we must cultivate them before we need them. Building relationship. Question is, how do you cultivate relationship that will become personal and beneficial? The point is, you don't start digging your well when you are thirsty. You would die doing that. You start cultivating and building relationship before you will need them. This is key, so that you are not a desperate fellow or a desperado when that time of need, arises. You must start to dig your well. To plant a tree 20 years ago. But the second best time, they say, is now. You may not have had relationship with X and Y or Z, as the case may be, in the past, yesterday, even this morning. You can start to cultivate that relationship now. And I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Whether you like it or not, there's nothing that comes without some effort. So very few things happen by chance. Nothing moves until it is moved or forced or driven by somebody. Now, so the first step in building your relationship, or indeed your network, is deciding to do it. So it won't happen just by wishful thinking. it will happen by taking deliberate steps to doing it. And what is your mission? You have to decide, why do I need to have a relationship with Shijiolumi, for instance, or Yemi, as the case may be. Decide why. What can you gain thereof, and what can you give? We just must decide that within ourselves. And the point is, if you don't know where you are going, it simply means you are going nowhere. And any road will take you there. Any road leads nowhere. So what is your goal or your purpose? Why do you want to be in relationship or closer relationship with X or Y? Once you have that goal, the rest is possible. It is possible. So the more specific and clear your goal is, the easier it is to develop a strategy to accomplish it. Once you don't have a clear goal, you will be like this plant on the lagoon that drifts back and forth. I'm trying to remember the name now. It goes nowhere. It goes nowhere because it's just operating on the waves on the sea. It's not going to go anywhere. So part of the strategy of establishing a relationship with people, particularly those who are around your area of influence or area of operation, is that you must find people who knows them or who is closer to them to help you get there. So goals are hardly achieved alone. You will need some assistance here and there from others. For instance, to stay focused on it, you need the assistance of people. As in business, even the best conceived plan can benefit from external vetting or endorsement. And I'm sure if you think back, you will remember times or situations where the key to what you are looking at is from the unexpected quarters. He or she will just come by and then it gives solution to that nagging issue that you have been looking for, that you have been battling with. And that's the way the lives of relationship works. And when you build network of relationship, then you have set yourself up for great things. You have set yourself up for great things, and greater things you will get. Like I mentioned briefly, I said that you have to build it before you need it. In which case, when you need it now, you will be a desperate person. And there is something about desperation that scares people away from other people. So build the bridge before you need to cross it. And it means that you must think ahead. Work out an arrangement where you meet the fellow or call the fellow and have some discussion. There is always a solution at the other end, one way or the other. There is nobody that you will call that has no idea of anything. He may know somebody else that has the answer. So you must make conscious effort to reach out to others long before you need anything at all from them. And the time to start is now. You just like we have mentioned, you don't start digging your wells when the water has already run dry. You will die doing that. You don't need that. Reach out to people long before you know them. You don't start, for instance, building a house just out of the blues. You must have thought about it. You must have gotten a piece of land. You must have put some money together, and it can take you years depending on the inflows. But then it is possible. But if it's just daydreaming about it, it remains a remark. What do you call it? It remains a mirage. The dynamics of building a relationship is necessarily incremental. You can only truly gain someone's trust and commitment little by little over time. For most of us in this group that are already married, you know how you caught your wife or caught your husband and eventually it became it. It takes time. It takes time. So start to build or create the kind of community of relationship that can help you in the future. It takes somebody to introduce me to HR mentorship, and I have also informed some people about it. And that's how it keeps growing. And thank God for the grace he has given those who are in charge. They created the HR mentorship also. And a lot is happening there. Many are, are deriving joy in furthering their call it their the things they love doing, selling X or Y, and they're making the money, still doing their regular job. It's amazing what a man can do if he wants it. And that's what we are seeing there. Those side hustles are bubbling. People are smiling to the back. They are finding even ingenious ways of adding value to that business and to themselves at the same time. What a wonderful combination. Great stuff, if I may say so. So begin to create the kind of community of relationship that will help you in the future today. Take on leadership role in your community, in your church or mosque or alumni association, professional bodies, even organizations that promotes, our innermost interest. And the law of probability will ensure that the more people you know, the more opportunities will come your way, and the more help you will get at critical junctures, in your career and your life as well. And let me add this, we need to be audacious. If we are deliberate in our steps and in our thinking, then we know that we can make every minute count. Seize this very minute. What you can do or dream you can, begin it today. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it, according to Goethe. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Boldness or courage is a virtue that must be cultivated, because it's not easy to go and face somebody from the blues. Probably your name may be familiar, maybe on the platform because you make a lot of contribution, but we are still distant entities. No matter, we don't even know where we live. Some of us could be living in the same estate or neighborhood. We don't know. But the point is, if he or she has the stuff that you desire or would love to have part of it, you have to go find a way to meet him or her, as the case may be. For most people, the fear of asking or of meeting people is closely tied to the fear of public speaking. Some people still find that a big deal. But no matter how terrible you are, you will only get better doing it. After a while, it becomes your ID, and you will have gotten better and be more known at doing whatever it is you do when it comes to public speaking. But this must be admitted and confronted head on. It takes a while to get used to some people. When you meet a new person, he or she is an unknown quantity, but breaking the ice is a possibility, and it must be done. You won't make friendship just from a distance. You must find a way to get closer and find that that person is an easygoing person after all, and he has a listening ear to go with it. So whatever it is in terms of your fear, we can overcome it. The question is how. Question is how? Find a role model, emulate him or her, if it's public speaking, for instance, and you start imitating the way he or she speaks. And in no time, it becomes you. Learn to speak. Take lessons on speaking to overcome shyness and enhance your self-confidence. It is possible. Every effort you make gives you more leverage. And the more miles you cover, the better that self-confidence becomes it. Like the Nike says, just do it. Start with someone today. Introduce yourself. You probably remain seated all his or her life. You and I must be ready from time to time to take that baby step. We will fall, but we'll get back again and walk better. And in no time, come on, we are even racing. We are no longer walking, we are running. And that will be a lot if we give it what it takes. So you need to do homework. Spectacular achievement is always preceded by spectacular preparation, according to Robert Schuller. There's no gainsaying about it. I mean, no matter how brilliant, after a certain level, maybe primary and to some extent secondary school, you can't go further and attend exams without even reading or preparing for it. You will fail greatly. So you must prepare. I mean, preparation precedes achievement, and it applies in this case as well. So undertake research into who you want to meet so that you have an idea about them and you can relate, because what do you really want with him or her, as the case may be? He's got talent, he's got ideas that you also crave, and you believe that knowing him or her, as the case may be, we broaden your horizon. And so whatever it is, those debilitating fears must be pushed aside so that you can go forward and meet this fellow who will help you. But you must do your homework. Know who he or she is, the thing that you crave, or the things you love from that he or she has is what you are targeting. And by getting closer to him or her, as the case may be, you get to know the source, if it's from a peculiar source, or the depth of it that he or she possesses that can help you in whatever endeavor you want to do. The more you know that person, the more you will leverage on his knowledge to gain something from him. After all, we rub on each other one way or the other. So once you know his passions, his needs or interests, because when you know his needs and they are available with you, the way God works is miraculous. What is so easy with you is a challenge to somebody else. When both of you meet, it means like you are like the candle. You don't lose your illumination by lighting another one. It just makes the whole place brighter. And so when you connect with other people, you see their passion, you see their interest, and where there are alignments, it rubs off each other. And before you know it, you are bonding and you benefit from yourselves. Let it be clear, according to William James, he said the deepest principle of human nature is the craving to be appreciated. Now, whoever you are going to meet for one thing or the other is the first thing that happens is that you are telling him you are quite outstanding, you are very good in this particular area, and I want to learn more from you. Now, once that craving of recognition is there, then you can be sure that he or she will help you, will want to pour himself onto you. I mean, we all have mentors, if our egos are not too big. And the mentorship does not mean you must be older or he must be older than you and all of that. It could be from somebody that can be your child, depending on your age. Knowledge is not a matter of age. It is a matter of interest and God's gift. And we need to tap into those people that possess it by recognizing that they have unusual grace in that particular area. And you and I can benefit from them. Take away that toga of pride or whatever it is and move on. There is this thing they call cold call. If you are a salesman, you must know about it. Because it is so called because there is no credibility or trust. And that's why you will go there and flaunt your identity of, the identity of your organization and all of that. But there is also something they called warm call. Because if, for instance, you know somebody that knows somebody in the organization, you are going to make your pitch for sales, then you know it has provided a kind of soft landing, and upon which you can, operate. So you can turn that cold call into a 1-1 because you have gotten to know somebody in there who, by virtue of that person that refer you, becomes, warm towards you. So convey credibility by mentioning a familiar person or institution. If it's an alumni of your school and you get to meet, I got a job I did for 23 years because in those days when this email thing was like non-existent, and you now sent in an application letter, you don't know whoever there. But that person saw my application and recognized that, okay, this guy is an alumnus of Nsukka. And, well, he had a good result, 2-1. That if he could be an alumnus of Nsukka and he had a 2-1, then why did you put him on the other side where it's like rejected? He was in the civil service. And they said, don't worry, because he's from Nsukka, put him in the other one, he will do well. And the rest is story, history, like they say. And I got in there, even forgetting, I've never met that man. He had left the school 6 years before I got in there. So I never met him during my undergraduate years. And he never knew me until we were there. And since they did the shortlisting the crude way, not the one we do now, he doesn't know me. And then come the interview day, we did all the tests and all of that, and I was among the top guys. Unfortunately, I did well at that interview, and the rest is history. Bam, I got in a job just on that premise. If I didn't apply and I didn't prepare well, that probably would not happen. But the Nsukka factor started it, and that's the way life is. So convey your credibility by mentioning a familiar name, and you see some doors will open up to you. State your value proposition. What do you want? And if you have been a salesman before, I'm sure you know what we are talking about. Impart urgency and convenience by being prepared to do whatever it takes, whenever it takes, to meet the other person on his or her own terms. Some people may not be easy to see, but you need something from them. You must bend over backward to meet them at the appointed place and time. It may not be convenient, but there goes your opportunity if you are looking for convenience. So be prepared to offer a compromise that secure a definite follow-up at a minimum. And once you have met somebody before, then some commonalities will come from that discussion, and then you can start mingling and getting a relationship going. Then what next? It's up to you. It's your call. Start today to cultivate meaningful relationship. Deliberately do it in a humble manner, and I'm sure you will have more, a better success than ever before. And I wish you a more, how do I call it? A more success at that relationship building. The more you build, the better for you and I. And I want to thank you all for listening and having me today. Thank you. I'm willing to take some questions you may have. Thank you. There you have it. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluwumi, for that insightful session. That was very beautiful and prompt. If we have questions, we would like to take them quickly so that we can call it a wrap and we can rest. Please indicate by show of hands and we can quickly unmute you. If you prefer to chat, you can also drop the question or comments in the chat box. We have our first contributor for tonight. Okay, so Demola Obasan Kaude, please, you can unmute. Demola, please, you can unmute and ask your questions or make your contributions. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for the insightful presentation. Really enjoy it. So some of the comments you make, you said you need to be a little bit about networking or making relationships with people. And also one thing you also said that stuck with me was that you don't connect with people when you need them. Now, this January, I've been doing that a lot. Now, I was telling someone recently that my year has started on a good note because of people I've actually met. Now, because of my first, I didn't even plan on doing all this that I do, but because I linked up with someone in the last year who posted a group, who posted a link on a group I am on. I joined somewhere. I went to Lagos for that, and from there met my mentor. From there met someone else. From there met two mentors. From there joined HR mentorship group. Joined like just this year alone. This year alone, I'm already on more than 5 HR related groups. Like, and this is me. Like a year ago, that doesn't have a friend in HR. Right now, I have like two major contacts. Like I can't, everything I've practically just done in the space of, I think, January 5 to date, I've been the result of my network. And now currently I do graphic designing on a large scale, and this is things that I don't even do. So just me doing one small thing for the code I'm on. And someone say, "Oh, you can do this. No, why don't you just become a graphic designer?" And I was like, "Can I design? Yes, I can." And that's it. Now I became a graphic designer not for just the cohort, but I became a graphic designer for an entire HR mentorship that I joined January ending. For a group that has been available since December, since for 2 years ago. So that has been, and also for me personally, I've been able to upskill myself through those networks, through the connections. And like you said, I'll also build more with my peers and build more with other people. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome. But it.
Okay, thank you so much. At this point, it appears we don't have any more questions, comments, or contributions, as no one is raising up his or her hands. But let me just say that as we wrap up, we need to be intentional. We need to take practical steps. It's one thing, for example, to be in a group, is another thing for you to be meaningfully active in that group. Emphasis on meaningful activity and activeness. It's just like, I'll use a church example. If you're a member of a church, that's one level. You cannot be a member of that church and then be a worker. That's another level. So if you belong to any association, any professional network, for example, if you're on WhatsApp, from time to time, be intentional about providing helpful and relevant content that other members of the group can benefit from. From time to time, provide solutions, provide responses when people ask questions. Don't just be a member of the group and for 6 months you never see anything. Now, talking specifically about HR mentorship, we from time to time have physical hangouts. This should not always be about convenience. I've seen a pattern. The HR mentorship members who have met each other physically are faster and quicker to respond to each other's inquiries and queries than people who they don't know. And it's normal and natural. Okay, of course, if, for example, you are in a location that you can't come physically, it's okay. There are also virtual programs, physical programs. Come prepared, come with questions. You come for a webinar like this, ask questions, or you know the topic 1 or 2 days before, think about it. You have 1 or 2 perspective or experience, contribute, okay? You follow people, for example, on LinkedIn, maybe they put out a post or a comment, ask questions, throw in your thoughts, and contribute. So I just don't want you to be in visible places. I need you to also be visible. When you also network with people, like Oga said, don't just go with the mindset that, oh, I want to go and collect. If you are just going about trying to collect, you can end up collecting water. Go with the mind to, there's nobody in this world that does not have a need that you cannot meet. It does not have to be a financial need. It can be a task, it can be an assignment. It can just you showing empathy to say, sir or ma or Felix, or I know you have a very busy schedule. How have you been able to cope? All right. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Tomorrow we'll have another great session. Our website, you can always check tonight's session and other sessions on the YouTube. The YouTube channel is my name, intentionally, Oluyemi Adeosun. Please go to YouTube. We have well over 100 HR mail-related topics for your listening delight. You must get better by all means. If you've ever missed any opportunity or interview or promotion, please don't become bitter. Become better. Continue to relate, continue to network. When you enter people's DM, be polite, be professional. Don't just say "I" and stay quiet. Okay? Enter their DM, introduce yourself, state the purpose so that meaningful engagements can take over. I wish us the very best in this season and in subsequent days ahead. Once again, Mr. Oluwumi, we do not take your coming here today for granted. We appreciate you. Despite your tight schedule, you have generously decided to reach out to us from your heart, from your knowledge, and your experience. It's a privilege and honor to know you. If you like to reach out to Mr. Olushiji, you still have a few minutes, you can connect with him. It may be of service in one way or the other. Thank you once again, sir, and have a good evening.
God bless.